Hey witches! So we're going to talk about evocation for beginners. So this is for people that have never done an evocation before, or if you've done one and you just want to stick around and learn more, that's awesome. But the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have a list that you wrote out of questions or a petition or statements, whatever your purpose is for calling the deity. You need to write down those reasons, because when the energy shifts and the deity's there, you might forget why you called them in, and you don't want to be stuck there, with nothing to say, because that would be terrible. So make your list. Next, you need to make sure that you write out or look up a chant for the evocation. This is a very important step. You need to immerse yourself in knowledge about that deity and make sure that you understand the deity, and most importantly, come up with the best evocation for that deity. For most deities, you can find them online. It is also possible for you to write out an evocation. If you wanted to try to do that, you could, but I would first start out with those tried and true evocations. So next, you can use sigils to add to the ritual. So take your deity's sigil and draw it out. They also make little sigil cards that you can buy in bulk. You can do those, but there's a lot of power in taking a magical ink, like bat's blood ink or dragon's blood ink, putting one drop of your blood in it. Yes, y'all know I use blood and magic from time to time. But put a drop of your blood in that ink, and then use that magical ink to write out your petitions. Use that magical ink even to write a spell in your book of shadows if you wanted. Use that magical ink to draw sigils. That would be a great time to do that, would be during an evocation, because you're putting your life force into that ink. But you don't have to use blood. You can just use a Sharpie and draw the sigil, or you can use a pre-printed sigil. But you want to make sure you have some sigil of the entity that you're trying to evoke. If they don't have a sigil, every now and then you'll find a deity that doesn't have a sigil or a set symbol. You can write one out. You can use the runic alphabet, the witch's alphabet, or the English alphabet to write out those letters. Take just the consonants, get rid of any doubles, and take those remaining letters and create a sigil yourself. And that would be very powerful as well. And you could use that in place of a sigil if you can't find one that is already connected to that deity. So next, put the correspondences on the altar or the sacred space, anything that the deity likes. Wine, the candle colors, crystals, herbs, incense, anything to make that space inviting. Think about it like this. When you're having people to come visit, say your best friend's coming to visit, you make the place nice, right? You might tidy up. You have their favorite drink on hand, maybe their favorite snack. Make the place smell nice. Just make it inviting. So you're doing the same thing for your deity, just like you would do for anyone else that you're having to come visit. So next, do the evocation on the correct day of the week. Most gods and goddesses have certain times of the day and days of the week that they prefer to be contacted. Like I know for Hecate, her best day is Saturday, and it's at dusk. Dawn is also one that will work, but dusk is really good because it's transitioning into nighttime, and as witches, most of the things we do are at night. But check for your deity, because some deities like to be evoked during the day. So just double check that. Make sure that you have that stacking your magic, because you want the deity to show up. And these are all great ways to make sure that happens. So next, conduct your ritual. So you start with the sigil. You're going to put the sigil in front of you. Have your candles lit and everything. So you're going to have your sigil, then you're going to start your chant. You're going to repeat your chant over and over and over. So whatever evocation you found, you're not just going to say it once. You're going to say it over and over and over. And it can even be, if it's something that you wrote that's just short and sweet, you can just say it over and over and over. You could also just say the deity's name, Hail, like how you could say Hail Hecate, and just say that over and over and over, trying to put your energy out there to see if you can do it that way. I do think that having, more than that works best, but I have had success with that and seen other people have success as well. So that is also something that you could do. But you continuing doing your chant. When they come, you want to welcome them. Definitely welcome them. And as all this is happening, you're kind of going into a meditative state. So you're going to be really in that headspace. So when you do notice the energy change, you'll know that your deity's there, and then you can, welcome them verbally. You might not even if you don't say it out loud, you can communicate just telepathically to your deity. You don't even have to say anything out loud, but it, for your own benefit, it's probably a good idea to say these things out loud so you can assure yourself that they heard you, but they know what we're thinking. So let's see, what do you expect when you're evoking a deity? What things are going to happen? How do you know for sure that you evoke them? Well, the energy is going to change in the room. The temperature is going to change. The atmosphere is going to change. You shouldn't really have electronic devices on during this time because they can mess with your energy. But if you do have them on, there may be some interference with your electronics. The lights might flicker, but my suggestion is cell phone off, lights off, candlelight only. And then you can use your candle flame to also help you detect the presence of a deity. So if you're not well trained in picking up on energies, you might not notice anything different. You just continue to practice those skills and meditation. Use your arcane senses. Train in those arcane senses. Train in clairvoyance, the ability to see. Train in clairaudience, which is the ability to hear. And practice your astral travel. Just keep practicing those things, and it'll help you become better at being able to detect these energies. You might just need to focus and chant longer if nothing's happening. It might not be that you can't pick up on the energy. It might just be that nothing's happening yet. So this can take a while. I mean, you can spend up to an hour trying to evoke a deity correctly. So this is not going to be something that's just 5 minutes and done. It might happen, but you want to spend the time doing it until you feel that energy change in the room. You'll feel it. You may even feel a breeze. Things are going to change. So spend time doing it. Don't give up. So once the deity is there, don't waste your time. Go ahead and submit your request, whatever that is. You should also spend time meditating with the deity to strengthen your bond, and it also shows respect. So you know how to throw some kind of meditation in there, but you should do that. And then after everything is finished, thank your deity, release them to end the ritual. Don't forget that last part. You need to close that portal. Make sure you thank them. I would end it also with another offering. Maybe give your offering at the end. Say maybe you got flowers. Maybe offer those at the end of the ritual, or whatever offering you chose. But then finally what you're going to do is get out your book of mirrors, or maybe even your book of shadows for this, depending on how successful it was. But if it was really successful and the deity came through and your petition was granted and everything worked out great, you might want to put that in your BOS. But typically things like this would go in your book of mirrors, but journal about it. Wherever you're going to write, you might even just have a separate journal for your deity. Journal about the experience. Because times like this, when the deity comes through and everything flows correctly, that's not something that you want to forget. You want to remember that. You want to remember for the rest of your little witchy life. So write it down in a book, whatever journal you're using. Just write it down and share it with your, your witchy friends and like-minded folk. Let them know about your successful evocation, especially if it's your first one. If you're doing an invocation, it's sort of similar, but an evocation, you're calling the deity to draw on their energy or to bring them in, to ask them to, for something, whether it's a petition that you want to do, you have a request, or you just want to spend time with them, whatever. That's your evocation. You might even evoke them for spell work. An invocation is completely different. An invocation is when you bring that deity's energy into yourself. And the goal is for that deity to eventually speak through you, send messages through you, or give you divine messages just through you drawing them in. So it's completely different. So when you hear invocation, it's not what I'm talking about. This video is about evocation. I'll do a separate video on invocation, but it's very similar. It's similar in the process, not the effects, but the process is similar. But that's all I have, witches, and blessed be. Bye.